Hi everybody! We all know Facebook as the giant powerful company that it is today. But very few of us know that when Facebook actually came out in the market, it was neither the first social media product in the market, nor was it the best social media website in the market. In fact, when Facebook came out, there was already another social media website that had about 1 million users, and it was already one of the most visited websites on the internet. But somehow, within the next 4 years, Facebook made history by overtaking this huge company and went on to become one of the most powerful companies on the planet. And the reason why this happened has got some very important business learnings for each one of us. Because more often than not, we all must have had a brilliant idea, but then after doing a little bit of research, we tend to realize that there's already a giant company as our competitors doing the exact same thing as we planned to do. And that could be demotivating. But guys, what if I told you that instead you should be super happy to build a business if there's already a giant competition in the market, and the fact that it will actually provide you a golden opportunity to build a business. The question is, how is it even possible, and how can you go on to build a business to compete with $1 billion company? The answer to this question lies in a story that dates back to January 2004. This is when a social media website called MySpace had arrived on the internet. It was just like the modern day Facebook, which allowed people to form connections and help them find new friends on the internet. And within just 1 year, MySpace became a sensation in the making, with more than 1 million users signing up within the first month itself. And by the end of the year, MySpace had 5 million users. This is when in 2005, it got purchased by a gigantic media company called News Corp for $580 million. Because somehow, News Corp was one of those few organizations that actually realized the potential of social media ads back in 2005. And the day this purchase happened, it marked the beginning of the capitalistic internet era. During this time, Facebook was just a college student website which was open to only Ivy League students in the US. But on the other side, from 2005 to 2008, MySpace became the most visited social networking site in the world. And in 2006, it even surpassed Google to becoming the most visited website in the world. But something happened in the next 4 years, because of which the same MySpace had just 115 million users. While on the other side, Facebook, the college community website, had more than 1 billion users. The question is, what exactly happened, and how did two companies, in spite of being in the exact same space, doing the exact same thing, have such a vast difference in their success? The first reason is based on the fundamental concept of social networking human psychology, which is known as the triadic closure property. And this is something that was suggested by a German sociologist named George Simmel in 1908. In simple words, what it means is, if there are three people, Shyam, Baburao and Raju, if Raju knows Babu and Babu knows Shyam, then automatically Raju will form a connection with Shyam, and Raju will be more inclined to trust Shyam. So basically, if A knows B and B knows C, then A is more inclined to form a connection with C, eventually leading to speed of trust. And you must have observed this while you used Facebook or Instagram. That is, when you get a request from a person who has 200 mutual friends, you easily tend to accept their request. At the same time, if you get a request from a person whom you possibly know but has got 0 mutual friends, there's a little bit of skepticism that pops in. This is how the triadic closure property plays out. In case of MySpace and Facebook, the major drawback with MySpace was that it did not allow users to use their real names as their user names. And because of this, although you could meet new people on the internet through similar interests, you couldn't really tell who exactly are you chatting with. So this kind of turned into a fine mix of privacy and creepiness. But on the other hand, Facebook insisted on getting people to use their real names as their usernames. Why? Because as legend has it, Facebook was meant to stalk girls, and if you didn't know the names of those girls, stalking wouldn't be user friendly, right?
औरत का चक्कर बाबू भैया, औरत का चक्कर.
Just kidding, guys. It was meant to be that way because Mark Zuckerberg believed in helping people build authentic connections through digital technology. And regardless of the truth behind this statement, the strategy of using real names turned out to be Facebook's X factor, because of which Apart from connecting with people in their own respective social circle, users actually started to expand their network to form second and third connections. And this is where the mutual friend feature came in handy. And because of this, the networks on Facebook became far more deep-rooted and helped people expand their connections beyond their social circle. And this is the reason why in 2006, when Facebook opened itself to the general public, people flocked to create a Facebook account in spite of having a MySpace account already. Now this begs the question, if it was just this simple feature of using real usernames that distinguished Facebook from MySpace, then why didn't MySpace incorporate that feature and kill Facebook altogether? In fact, this is what Facebook did with Snapchat, right? By introducing Instagram stories. In fact, the MySpace team even had the backing of a large corporation like News Corp, right? Then why couldn't they incorporate this feature? Well, as it turns out, this is exactly why they couldn't incorporate the feature in their website. Because News Corp turned MySpace into a proper corporate organization which had to follow protocols and procedures, and more than the ideas and execution, the focus went to register quarterly profits, yearly profits, and all the other corporate procedures. In fact, even if the MySpace team came out with a brilliant idea, it first used to get scrutinized by lawyers, then by so-called experts, and then a series of meetings used to be held, and then a series of emails used to be sent, and it just kept going back and forth. And in the process, things got so slow that the ideas just got lost into bureaucracy, and even something as simple as adding a feature also took forever to be executed. Well, on the other side, Facebook was being run by a bunch of college students who could add, change, modify, and delete features overnight and make major modifications to the website without any formalities. And unfortunately, finally when MySpace incorporated the option of real usernames, it was already 2008 and Facebook had already surged way ahead. Cold Fusion in fact has covered this extensively in one of his videos. So to put that straight, while MySpace became a rigid organization that was focused on procedures and protocols and was constantly debating about who is right and who is not, Facebook was obsessively focused on what is right and executed ideas with agility. And this became the second reason for the fall of MySpace and the rise of Facebook. And the story didn't end here. The rigid corporate structure of MySpace also led to another huge setback that literally became the golden recipe for Facebook to surge way ahead of MySpace. And this recipe also became a game changer for Amazon, Google, and Apple. And this was the idea of third-party integration, wherein Facebook practically transformed from a product to becoming a platform. On 24th of May 2007, Facebook launched the Facebook platform to provide a framework for software developers to create applications that could interact with the core features of Facebook. For example, Spotify could use Facebook API to allow users to share music directly within the Spotify application itself. Candy Crush used Facebook for instant login, and I'm sure most of you must have used it. And thirdly, Nike Run Club used Facebook APIs to enable its users to share their achievements of their run with their friends by posting directly to the Facebook's newsfeed. So this way, Facebook allowed developers and gave them the freedom to use their technology and build products and services of their own. Whereas on the other hand, MySpace was said to be a notoriously closed system, and MySpace even used to block contents from potential competitors. And for some reason, it also ended up blocking PhotoBucket, which was at that time the most popular photo sharing website. And this became the third reason why Facebook became an incredible platform, not just for consumers and advertisers, but also for developers. And by the way, this concept of going from product to a platform is also the reason for the unprecedented success of Apple, because back then even Steve Jobs was skeptical about allowing third-party developers. But when Apple started providing its platform to developers, the iconic App Store was born, and that changed Apple forever. Even Android did the same with Play Store. But, if you look at Nokia acted like MySpace and made it very difficult for developers to operate because the Symbian OS was too rigid for third-party apps to be built upon. And fast forward to 2013, Amazon launched its own version of third-party integration by allowing third-party sellers to use this technology to sell their products. And guess what? In 2020 alone, Amazon generated $80.46 billion in third-party seller services revenue, which is more than the revenue generated by its own sellers. This was the insane revenue stream that MySpace passed on and turned Facebook into the billion-dollar company that it is today. Now let's talk about the 3 important lessons from this case study. Lesson number 1. Every entrepreneur and a leader needs to realize that the fundamental purpose of an organizational structure is not just to help you make strategic decisions, but to enable you to make those strategic decisions before it's too late. And the day you realize that these protocols are making the execution of ideas tedious, you need to kill those protocols straight away, or else those very same protocols will end up killing your organization. Lesson number 2. Regardless of how marvelous your technology is, if you're building a business to consumer product, human-centered design must always be taken into consideration. Because if you see, in this case, it was the simple feature of mutual friends that actually got Facebook the same amount of popularity as MySpace. Because knowingly or unknowingly, it abided by the triadic closure property. And last and most importantly, even if you're not the first mover in the industry, it's completely fine, guys. In fact, it is great because regardless of how big a company is, if they are venturing into a new space, they will make mistakes. And if you carefully learn from those mistakes, you can save yourself a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of efforts. And more importantly, merely by learning from those mistakes, you will have the opportunity to race ahead of the game. Because after all, wisdom is that attribute that often separates a few legendary entrepreneurs from the many good ones. That's all from my side for today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on Friday. Bye-bye.